All right. Guys, welcome to another Fire Conversation. We got two guests here today. One right on camera is Kukla. This is my dog. And then we also have my aunt, Maria, on the Zoom with us today. She's driving, but she's going to have a super good conversation with us today. Hopefully you guys can grab some knowledge from what we talk about in today's Fire Conversation. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video and just keep staying tuned to all the videos. We're going to keep trying to bring a bunch of people on here as far as business, marketing, entrepreneurs, just anybody that wants to come on here and have a really good conversation. So Thea Maria, thanks for coming on or being here via virtual assistance. So hope you're doing well. It was great seeing you over the weekend. And how are you doing today?
I am doing just dandy. I'm a little tired after a day of work, but all good.
Nice. Well, thank you for being one of the first in the family to have a awesome conversation with me. I think some of the others are a little scared, so maybe after they see our fire combo, they won't be so nervous. But I do want to ask some questions just based on kind of the family, and I figured, we'll get into kind of some things of that, and why I think you've been such a good family member to everyone so far. But I do want to know a little bit on the background and your guys' childhood, especially you being the sister of my mom, and us being just having a good, strong, big Greek family. So I do want to ask kind of just like, was there any few events in your childhood, and I'm talking young childhood, so anywhere between like 5 years old and let's say 16, 18 years old, that kind of set you and your brothers and sisters up? Was there like a certain kind of like a impactful moment that happened like in your childhood that either kept you guys kind of close knit, or just, any kind of cool moment that I'd like to know about, that I don't know already?
Okay. There's probably been a bunch. I could say the first big childhood moment would be moving from Hammond, Indiana to Oak Lawn, Illinois. We thought we were living the high life. We came from a little red house on Holman Avenue with 3 small bedrooms, 1 shared bath, and a pretty simple basement. There was no formal living room. It was living room / family room / dining room, and there was no per se like family room area in the basement, with big screen TVs or anything like that. So when we moved to Oak Lawn, we thought it was pretty special. We had a beautiful home. We had more bathrooms. We had more space. And I think that was a big impactful moment for us. We were all pretty much starting, we were still in grade school at that point. And Theo George was probably, I was in 5th, 3rd, he was probably in 1st grade. So he probably experienced the most of it. When I moved to Oak Lawn, I was just going into 5th grade.
Gotcha.
There's a few other stories to that, but we could pick that up another time. I want more of your questions.
Yeah, no, I just kind of wanted to see, like when I relate kind of like your guys' childhood back then to kind of how I grew up with my friends, my family, and it's just kind of cool to see kind of like small differences, and like, for example, being like a first generation person who's went to college and things of that, versus family members who, let's say, didn't, the differences in that. So I'm kind of curious to like what your thoughts on like, growing up before you went to, let's say high school and college. Was it a big burden? Like, were people talking about going to college a lot? Was that kind of like a big thing in your guys' mind, or was, were you guys getting drilled by Yaya Papu about, getting a job and things like that?
No, they always wanted us to be able to get a job, and as you know, or might have heard, when we were younger, they expected us to come and help at the restaurants they owned. But, and that was more or less for us to have our own spending money and everything. But but they never really pressured us too much with college. I think they would have been happy for us to, you know what I mean, get our college degrees, but I never felt that sort of pressure. If I had any pressure, it was my own pressure, just because I knew what my dreams were and where I wanted to go. I, from a young child, wanted to be a lawyer, which is pretty much a joke now because, of course, my oldest son is a lawyer, and I'm living through him. But unfortunately, I felt like my grades weren't there, but my creativity was. So I knew that that's where I needed to be, in a creative industry, and then just moved on from there with some really good mentors in school, art school and high school. So that helped me get my portfolio ready and, let me follow my dreams. Now, as far as any other pressure from Yaya and Papu, I would say no. They were pretty strict as far as our upbringing. And the only other thing I would say that would be different from the way you were raised or my kids were raised is we were very focused on letting our kids be physically active, with trying different sports and staying as busy as possible, where when I was growing up, that really wasn't as big of a deal. I think I got into cheerleading and, tried softball and basketball and volleyball. When I was in high school, my sport was track because I always was a runner. But other than that, like when we were young, we didn't do any of that stuff, and they never really pressured us. Now, George was the youngest, so again, when we got to 01, he was able to start hockey, which I don't know if you knew that, but he started hockey when he was pretty young. I would say maybe like second or third grade at the Oakland Ice Arena. And I think that was the first sport he tried before he got into more basketball because of his, height as he's rounded up a little bit. So, that was the only other difference. I think you were brought up, playing football from a young age. So, my kids between football, basketball, soccer, and gymnastics. But we never really had that when we were younger.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, we didn't have that option, I guess.
George, I didn't know that he even get done that. So that's cool. What's your thoughts on kids growing up playing sports and let's say going to college versus like the kids nowadays who, let's say, esports are gaming right now. And, for somebody that has a creative side of things, do you think it's important or less important like now to necessarily take the routes to, let's say, go play football, play all those things, be active versus, let's say, take, the esports route?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel that teamwork is just something that is teamwork in sports is what's going to help you with your career later in life, working with other people, becoming more social, more outgoing, more confident. But, sports aren't for you. I feel like I would rather support somebody getting out and doing anything more in the fresh air than being in front of a TV or playing games. Now, I'm not against it completely with the younger generation. I think that everything in moderation is okay. But I do feel like, for instance, like say your kids one day, might have, look at now, Elena, she already knows how to like hold a cell phone, and Island, an iPad. That's how they're growing up. They're already used to, everything being completely digital. And nothing's wrong with that. I just don't think that they need to be in front of that all day long.
Yeah, definitely. That kid can get through technology, through their phone, iPads nowadays. They could actually learn at a way faster pace and possibly even an easier method than, let's say, we used to, because what the internet brings, I think, that it gives you multiple ways to learn. So you'll find what's your best route. For me, is someone very visual, so I learned very easily from like YouTube videos and explainer videos, DIYs, things of that. Whereas let's say who's learns very good numbers and written words, so maybe textbook is great for them. So what I think with the younger gen is, if they use it properly, they could become super geniuses. But if they use it wrong, they're going to become extremely very unhealthy, and I think they're going to live a very tough life. So it's almost kind of splitting into two, which is kind of drastic to see and think about. But yeah, I was just curious on that. But some other stuff I just want to talk about is just kind of like a little bit kind of like the future of, let's say, families and how they could stay strong together. And I guess, was there let me here a little bit.
I lost you for a second, Alec. You said something about families staying stronger together.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking like, what's your kind of best advice for, let's say, family members, let's say anybody who's either my age or an adult, maybe trying to create a stronger relationship within their family. What's kind of like your best advice towards that?
Well, I mean, all I can just tell you is how, like, me and you, John, have been as far as with our kids, and I hope that they're never afraid to come and tell us anything. So we're pretty honest with each other. And of course, the golden rule of thumb, as corny as it is treat others the way you want to be treated. So from when they were kids, you know, if somebody was discluded, one of their friends, you know, I always pointed that out and said, hey, how would you feel if that was you know, and made them be the bigger person. I feel that that helped turn them into some pretty great kids. And I think that just sticking with your faith, and this is getting into religion more with me, but sticking with your faith when you need it, when you're scared, you know, when you need something to bounce off of, it's okay, you know what I mean, to lean on your faith. And be it whatever way you want to do it, saying a prayer at night or going to church, or you feel better going to confession, whatever the case may be. But I feel that helps too.
Yeah, no, I think number one thing I've always realized with relationships and with like family is definitely, so that was like the first thing you brought up was honesty. I think with any type of relationship, whether it's with your parents, with your brother and sister, with your friend, I think, you know, just being very transparent and honest is the best way to go. You know, if you're being honest about, let's say, financials, and I'm only bringing this up because I know a lot of people are going to watch this based off kind of like a business route. Being honest with financials, you know, like, why is it that, let's say, parents don't tell their kids how much money they have in their savings or something like that, or vice versa? Like when I asked, you know, my one friend, he started getting into investing. I'm like, okay, well, how much do you have, you know, in your savings, or how much you have already in your Robinhood account? And, you know, he was very kind of like, he didn't want to tell me, basically. And what's the reason? You know, I could help, you know. And I think if families are more honest with each other and more open, which I do think our family has been extremely like honest and very transparent with each other, hence why I think we have a strong family. Whereas, let's say, families that I've noticed on the outside who tend to hide things from each other or don't open up to each other as much tend to actually have, you know, poor relationships or trust issues, or they go behind each other's back, and then that kind of starts a bad spiral. So I think the whole thing with just creating a good relationship is, like you said, honesty, and having structure. You know, you brought up about, you know, telling people, hey, do what's right because you want to be treated that same way in return. And you know, that's how I definitely believe in, and I hope a lot of people do as well. And I think I just kind of closing remarks to you, Maria. I think, you know, anybody could have got some good knowledge from what we just talked about within our families and kind of the best routes to go. But what's kind of anything new that you got are excited about in the near future? And when's the next time that I'll be at the lake house?
Well, you're always welcome to come out to the lake. It's our happy place, and it's definitely I don't know, it's crazy. You know, you just drive over that border where it says welcome to Michigan and you feel like you could breathe again. And I don't know why, if it's just happy memories or seeing all those big pine trees. And for some reason, I just feel like it's less stress out there. But in any case, you're always welcome. No big deals happening at the lake right now. We did some renovations, as you know, and I think that we're pretty much tapped out with all that stuff. But I'm just excited about continuing with my career. I started a new role. It's still in marketing, but it's a director role for a company that I've never worked for before. It's a moving and relocation company. And I've been in the healthcare industry. I was, you know, with an architectural firm for a short while. I was with a few different ad agencies through my career. So, like, working with a moving and relocation company wasn't anything I really expected, but it has turned out to be, you know, really a nice surprise. Started off as a family-owned business. I would say it would be considered still somewhere between small to medium size, probably medium-sized business, about 50 employees, and obviously, you know, partnerships with other bigger corporations that make it seem a little bit bigger than it is. But the feeling of support there, you know, from all of the leaders in the company, and the opportunity to grow the marketing department and build it and continue to grow the company has been really exciting for me. And I've only been there for about 4 months. So I'm really looking forward to the next year, to 2023. We have some really great ideas as far as some new stuff we're implementing. And I guess that could be another creative conversation for you, Alec, whenever you're ready. Did I lose you?
Nope, I'm back.
Okay.
I just, but you know, no, definitely. I did actually want to have another conversation just because that's the area you're in. One of my kind of areas is obviously in a little bit of marketing. So I'd like to do a separate kind of conversation on that, on the creation side, and then what to do with, let's say, the video photos and everything that you've kind of learned from, you know, all the jobs that you just talked about. So that'll be a really cool conversation for the future that I know a lot of people that will watch it get a lot of influence from. This ones I really wanted to do is kind of like general things with people to look back at so in the future. Yeah, I could reference back to the video.
Okay, well, you're kind of breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you, but no worries.
Okay, all right. No, wait, I want to tell you one other thing that I'm really excited about, and this could be another thing we'll branch off in another conversation, because I know you're very involved in fitness and health oriented, but you know, I brought back yoga into my life, and again, another happy place for me after a long day work, or even if I squeeze it in on a like Saturday or Sunday morning. I just love it, and I tend to push myself in it. You know, it's hot yoga, so I, you know, take some of the tougher classes, you know, which is weights and sculpt and a flow series. So you're moving, you know, through it more rather than just stretching. But
yeah.
I love it, and I will tell you, at the end, the meditation part is crazy. Again, makes you pull all your thoughts together, you know, and really focus on what your dreams are, what your goals are, what you're, you know, hoping for, everything. So I would obviously highly recommend it. I definitely want to try to get your mom into it if she can. I think she would really like it. So that's my other new thing that I just love.
Yeah,
Been doing that for about 4 months too. I mean, I used to do yoga quite a bit. You know, years ago I did it quite a bit, and it was really great when I was doing that and running, because I felt like I was in the best shape of my life at that point. But you know, I put down on running, and yoga I feel like is giving me that added workout that I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think definitely, like, especially yoga body weight movements are very natural. They're called like essentially primal movements, what we, are what we've evolved from, and so I think doing that, like your body just moving, bending down, forward, it's moving blood around, getting it back to the heart. Like I think a lot of times people think sitting on a, let's say a recumbent bike and spinning and getting, a lot of RPMs and like getting a good sweat is, that's going to be a good general workout. But what your body actually needs is to get deoxygenated blood that, let's say, are in your lower legs or in your arms or from training or whatever it is back to the heart. So then they can pump out oxygenated blood and get all the lactic acid out and all that stuff. So like yoga are great movements because you're bending forward, your legs are in the air, everything's circulating. So that's for most people, they think, when they think yoga, it's a lot of stability, flexibility, but they don't necessarily think about oxygen.
Yeah. Core strength, baby.
Yeah. Here. Chat more about that, but
yeah, we could definitely chat more about that. So let me know when you want to talk again, and I think that you're off to a great start with this channel, and I'm sure you'll have some great conversations moving forward. And I look forward to being a guest again.
Perfect. No, thank you, Thea Maria. I've got some big hopes for this podcast and for kind of all the ventures I'm working on. So thanks for always supporting and being there for me, my mom, the whole family and everything. So thanks again for coming on here, and we'll talk soon.
All right, bud. Love you.
Love you too. See ya.
Is it okay to say that on a podcast?
Of course.
All right. Have a good night. All right. See ya. Bye-bye.